Hey, so we're back with our first interview today. We're lucky to have Melanie from the One Act Play Festival, Melanie O'Connor Horn. So the festival is running from April 10th to 12th and will showcase 4 brand new South African plays, each developed through the Masque's play reading program. These plays, which are each written by talented local writers, are set to bring fresh, exciting stories to the stage, providing a celebration of South African theater and a space for conversation between writers, directors, and audiences. In this interview, Melanie will give us an inside look at the festival, the process behind selecting and developing the plays, and really what makes this year's event so special. So let's welcome Miss Melanie O'Connor, to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for that great...
Welcome, Melanie.
That was a great introduction. I think I can leave now. My work is done.
Yeah. So it's super great to have you today. So let's just start with like an overview of the One Act Play Festival.
All right. So the One Act Play Festival actually begins with our play reading program. We hold monthly play readings. Do you know what a play reading is?
I'm actually not super sure.
Ah, okay. So it's when actors have rehearsed reading the script just about 4 times, so they're familiar with it. They don't move, they don't have any costumes or sound effects or props. So they sit and they read the script in front of a small group of people. And that gives the writer of the play a chance to hear the words spoken. Because, if you're writing a novel, then you're alone in your study, and that's fine because you can read it the way your ultimate customer engages with it. But a play doesn't come alive until you hear it. This is a complete aside. Do you know that in Shakespeare's day they used to say they were going to hear a play? Now we say we're going to see a play because we've become so much more visual. But anyway, the point is that the crux of a play is the text. So that's what it stands or falls by. So we give the writer a chance to hear the text spoken. And in fact, even before that, I've missed out a step. So what happens is we put out a call for plays. Then the writers submit their plays. And then a small team of us read the plays and send them some feedback, written feedback. And then out of those plays, some are selected to be read at a small event. Typically, those events are quite small, which is great. They're quite intimate. The writer's always very nervous that night because his work or her work is about to be dissected and read apart, but it's pulled apart. I mean, it's a very supportive, creative environment, and most writers find it a very valuable experience. So if we manage to do one play reading a month, sometimes we have to skip a month, but we aim for one a month. That gives us about 11 or 12 scripts to select 4 from. And then those 4 become part of the next year's festival. So the 4 plays that are on this year were all read, and 3 of them were adapted slightly after the feedback. And what's been interesting is that even during the rehearsal process, the writers and the directors have done a little bit more editing of the text. And I suspect that after the performance and the audience engagement, there'll be even more edits. And that's one of the highlights of the festival, is that after the performance, we bring the cast on stage, we bring the writer on stage, and then we ask for feedback from audience members. They ask about the process, and they share how they received the script. So we'd love to see you there.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds incredible. I love how it's so comprehensive, literally from such a broad audience, and you narrow it down and then help them improve, and that's such a cool way of doing it. So can you talk to us a little bit about the history of the festival? What does it represent also for the Masque?
Okay. So I think for the Masque, it represents their desire to be more engaged locally, to stage some original South African work, and to reach out to the community around them. It's interesting because the play reading doesn't just bring the writer in, but it often brings in the writer's colleagues or actors that the writers know who haven't been to the Masque before. So it's a great way to bring in a lot of new life. After COVID, some of the dramatic societies folded. Some of them are beginning to resurrect. But there was really a need to involve more people.
Wow. And so let's talk a little bit more about the 4 productions that you've chosen for this year. Dust is the one that I've heard about by Lauren Bates, and it seems to sort of tackle these themes of like education and reconciliation.
Yes. And art.
And art.
And art, yes.
And art. I can't forget that one.
Of course, that's the bit that reaches me the most.
Yeah. So can you share a little bit more about that play and like what makes it stand out? Why did you choose it over the other ones?
I really liked the fact that it had a good arc. You saw characters develop. You see relationships change. So from that perspective, it felt like, this is a piece where the character development feels realistic. And I really like that about it. Also, it was interesting because it really generated a lot of conversation after the reading. I think because it's set in the Cape Flats and one of the main characters is a white teacher. So, there was lots of discussion about the interaction between this teacher and the colleagues and the learners. So that's one of the things that drew me to Dust.
I really like that it's tackling like local. So all of these plays are from local playwrights, but I love that even the scope of the plays themselves is really tackling like these sort of local issues.
Yes, and as an American, this one might not mean that much to you, but Hech is an Afrikaans play. And so that's also very exciting.
I was just going to ask about that one, so yeah. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? From what I know, it sort of like deals with grief and then the hope that eventually can sort of spring out of that through the eyes of one young woman, Clara.
Yes. And again, it also touches quite a lot on the role that art plays in some people's lives. I suppose that's what happens when writers are artists, as they obviously are. So that also is quite a moving part. And it's about conflict within a family and how that's handled and how one deals with real trauma in one's life. That's an overused word, but I think it's definitely fair to use that word for the script.
And so there's 2 more. There's Knock Knock by Dawn Garish.
No. So yes, Dawn Garish.
Garish, thank you.
Dawn is a very established, published author, and she is able to write novels, short stories, poetry, and plays.
Wow.
Yes. She also dances and sings. Crazy. And she's a medical doctor. Anyway, I'm sure she wouldn't.
It sounds like she's someone we should have on here. She sounds like the most interesting person ever.
That's a good idea. So her play is a really interesting one, and I can't tell you too much about it. You'll have to come and see it, just because I'm thinking I'm at risk of giving away a spoiler here.
Ooh.
I'll tell you, though, it's a 2-hander.
I'm not totally sure what that means.
Okay, so that means just 2 actors.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And interestingly enough, we've got Dust and Hech on together. So they're on Thursday night and Saturday night. And then we have Knock Knock and The Dropped Baby. They're on Friday night and Saturday matinee. And a 2-hander means that both of those plays are 2-handers and have just 2 actors. In fact, The Dropped Baby is almost a one-person show, but there is a small support actress who's doing a fantastic job as well.
So could you talk a little bit more about that one? It's sort of like, from what I understand, it's a little bit about identity and memory, and sort of has this dark, but darkly humorous twist a little bit.
Yes, it does. So before I tell you more about The Dropped Baby, I just had another thought that Hech and Dust are both written by fairly young playwrights. Of course, I'm 50, so 54. Young becomes a little relative. And then Dropped Baby and Knock Knock are written by older playwrights. So I think that does make the content... actually, I'm not sure if this is fair to say about all writers, but it so happens that their content is quite reflective, very much focused on relationships. So in The Dropped Baby, the character reflects on many relationships that he's had throughout his life and how they've remained with him.
Wow. That sounds really... I'm going to have to go see all these.
You are.
You know, like I already kind of wanted to, but now you're just really sealing the deal here.
Okay.
So moving a little bit towards like a bigger theme, right? So why, like, what is it about like theater in particular that keeps you coming back to it, that makes you want to be the director and sort of logistical manager of this? And sort of inherent in that question is a little bit like, what is your personal connection to it?
Right. I have a very personal connection. My father was a writer. I mean, most of his life he worked as a sales rep or a public servant, and he had very uncreative day jobs. But I grew up listening to a lot of radio plays that he'd written. Yes. So here we are on the radio. And then he also had a play staged at a festival at the Baxter. But I just kept seeing all this work that the world wasn't hearing. And so I suppose from that I have a real heart in getting people's plays and stories read and heard and seen. It just saddens me that we have so many artists with plays, I keep saying in their top drawer, but actually on their laptops now, that we could all be enjoying. And I particularly think, why are we listening to so many international stories when we have brilliant local stories? So that's the essence of my motivation. But then also, I feel quite strongly that we don't yet have enough of a culture of excellence and revision when it comes to writing. You know, good writing only comes through multiple revisions and through multiple edits, and is always the result of a team of people giving feedback. That's not a new phenomenon. So writers over time have always received feedback and responded to that. And I think I've come across many writers who say, well, that's the way I said it, and then they don't want to edit it. And I'm hoping that we can create a slightly different culture. That's quite ambitious, isn't it?
That is ambitious. But I mean, I think you guys are already taking great steps towards that. You know, I know definitely for a fact in my own writing, like, I've never written a good first draft.
Exactly.
So it's good to feel like that I'm not alone in that. Even the professionals sometimes struggle with that. So as a festival director, you've had a hand in both curating the performances and sort of overseeing these logistics. What's been the most rewarding part out of all of it for you?
I think seeing the development of some of the actors has, you know, it's always amazing to see the portrayal of a character change over a rehearsal period. There have been many challenges with this rehearsal process. So I think, you know, that some of our cast members have had to work under extreme time pressure. And that has been difficult for me to watch. I'm just proud of them all for, you know, they're all volunteers, holding down day jobs and having to squeeze in time to learn their lines and be at rehearsals. And So I just wish I could have given them more time and more support. And I'm in awe of everyone who keeps giving of their free time to the art in this way.
Yeah, wow. There's like the passion trumps the logistical issues. And
yes.
it's always really nice to see that. And I know my own mother is interested in acting. And so it's fun to see that, like, what I see a little bit from her at home, trying to manage her job and her acting passion. Like, it's also continuing out in the world.
That brings me back to the play readings.
Mm-hmm.
So the play readings require 4 rehearsals and no learning of lines. So that's a great way for people who want to keep active with their acting, but who can't commit to, say, 3 months of 3 nights a week, which some productions require. So if anyone wants to be a reader, please find us at the Masque's website. It's www. I don't have to say that, do I? That's so dated. themasque.coza. And then you have to go and look for what's on and play readings and sign up and just indicate that you'd like to be a reader.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that in a little bit for everyone else again. But before we get into like how we can reach out to you, I want to ask one more big question about, like, how do you see this evolving in the future? You know, like, what is the next 5-10 years of the One Act Play Festival look like? And are there any exciting new developments that we should watch out for?
I think that after this festival, we're going to have a big think about how we move ahead. I mean, one of the things that I've been noticing is that people are submitting plays that aren't one acts. And we really want to give them a chance to be heard, so we squeeze them in. So I think we need to look at saying, how do we get 3-act plays, 2-act plays staged at the Masque that are local? That's the one thing.
Yeah. Sorry,
yes.
man. Can you quickly explain one act, like what it means for the listener who's tuning in now?
Oh my goodness!
Like
we're stepping all the way back.
Yes.
We're stepping all the way back.
Yes, certainly. So one act is when you see. It's a bit like a short story versus a novel.
Mm.
So a novel is made up of many chapters, and a play is made up of acts. And then within each act, you have a few scenes as well. And so, I mean, this is not the technical definition, but just a shorthand.
Yeah.
The whole story is encompassed in quite a short period of time. So that will be
like an ad kind of vibe, or not really.
So we try to keep it under 10,000 words and under an hour.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I mean...
When was the last time you've been to a theater?
So, last time I was in New York, which was actually about a year ago now. I went to a Broadway play.
Somewhere here in South Africa.
No, I've been to poetry readings.
We have a lot of theaters in Cape Town.
I actually have friends. I was talking about this. I have friends who are working in theater as part of my program, so... Yeah,
that's exciting.
I know, but I mean, I'm going to go to this one. So
okay. So now the festival, obviously, it's happening. As you were saying, also thinking of the future. If, let's say, somebody's listening now, they would love to come be part of this. Where is the location and how they can be involved?
Thanks for asking that, yeah. So the Masque Theatre is in Muizenberg.
Okay.
It's on the main road, and many people drive past it as they go to the beach and don't even spot it on there. Do you know where Muizenberg Junior School is?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
so it's just before that, if you're coming from Cape Town, and it's on your left-hand side. It's right at False Bay Station.
Okay.
So you could catch a train there and hop off, and then you'd be at the theatre.
Nice. So you're coming all the way from Muizenberg. We like it, man.
Yeah. Actually, I am based in Mowbray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. So you work that side. So is it like an everyday thing for you to wake up and go the side?
No. I have a day job in Maitland.
Okay. Okay. This is like a voluntary job on the side.
Yes.
Oh, it's the love of art.
I know.
Another part, a little bit away from the festival. What do you think of South African art? Do you feel like...
Wait, I haven't finished telling you
about
sorry.
So
I just want to remind them of that website.
Please do.
The Masque, but Masque is a strange spelling. The is normal, and Masque is MASQUE. MASQUE. The masque.coza.
Masque.coza. Please make sure that you log on to it. I know that one of our interns last year, Semi, and I forgot the other woman's name. They went to a play. There was a play there. They went to watch it. They were so thrilled.
Hang on. Yes, did they come and see The Murder of Roger Ackroyd?
Yeah, I think so, but it was like an opening of a play. They were invited and they came through.
Yes, the Masque has been hosting fantastic VIP nights. There isn't one for the festival because it's only 4 days. And I guess they must have been at one of those.
Definitely Ryan will invite some of
I would love to.
fellow students to come.
Have you ever been on stage?
On stage, as in
acting anywhere.
Oh, okay. I've written some plays where they were acted by my friends.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't tell you. And I also I have a diary that I wrote, which is on Facebook. Like people read it, and there's even a story where I wrote with my friend.
I'm going to have to.
We were just like having fun with it.
I never knew this side of you, Kusi.
It's a new side. So me and my friend, we used to mess around and do storytelling. We would lie to our friends about such things. They would listen to us. Literally, everybody would come through. It was like, yo, this happened. Lie. And then it was like, okay, let's write something.
Are you saying that lying is the beginning of writing?
I think so. I don't know. We were making it up. We were making up stories. And
Wonderful.
then I think sometimes they come back to me where I would just randomly lie. For example, I said to one of the colleagues that she has an album. And he believed it. You believed what? I even said to him,
I am just like you. Really.
So I would write all those things. So yeah, some secret talent on a cabin there on the side for me.
Fantastic.
But I wanted to know that how do you feel about support? I know that in other countries all over the world, art, they take it super seriously, especially theater. There's funding. We know that with most theaters in South Africa, some of them, they have volunteers to keep them going. How do you feel like the support though? From national government to local government. Is it there? Or do you feel like...
No, there isn't enough support. Definitely not. And, I think that art can play a really important role in nation building because people who are creatively engaged are generally more optimistic and they're connected to other people. They become positive people, and the more hopeful and positive we are, the better we perform generally. So I think there are all sorts of hidden benefits to art. And it's also a way of sharing stories and understanding each other. I just think it's really underfunded globally, but particularly nationally. And I wish it weren't so.
Thank you, Melanie. That is Melanie, who's also the director for the festival, One Act Play Festival, which will be held. Give me the date, from the 10th of April up until the 12th, right?
That's right. And
again, if people want to get a hold of you, want to log on to the website quickly before we go straight to the song.
The Masque, the MASQUE.coza.
Any last words for our listener?
You can also log on to Quicket and then just Google the Masque or One Act Play Festival and you'll be able to book tickets there.
Melanie, thank you very much for coming through.
Thanks for having us.
Sweet. Bye.